Woo! It's the boy, Bubba, Lutz coming through. Hella clutch, flawless, can't be touched. It's your boy, Bubba, Lutz. Yeah, I need that hot take. I need the truth and everything that is not fake. So tell me who's the GOAT. I'll tell you.
Welcome back to another episode of the Bubble Up Sports Podcast, everybody. We are alive. We are back from the grave because we've been dead for 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
This is episode 137, bringing you a different way of doing the podcast. We're not only doing video through Zoom, but we got our boy, Kevin, my boy,
Yes,
for the
sir.
first time ever on the podcast. Now, when it was, April? No.
March.
We
Yeah.
were supposed to get together for an event, a Call of Duty event that was taking place in Dallas. And Kevin, Gilbert, and Nick were supposed to come over for that. And I was going to have a huge podcast episode dedicated to you guys. But unfortunately, due to some circumstances, that was not possible. And ever since then, I've kind of struggled at trying to figure out what I'm going to do. But now we figured it out. And this is the best that we can do for now.
Yeah, for now,
Yeah.
until Corona decides to go away.
And the world doesn't go to shit.
Yeah, for real.
But we're not going to talk about that. Okay, people, let's just put it out there. Like,
Yeah.
talk about the elephant in the room. Everything that's going down out there. Like, this is a place to really just kind of get away from that. Now, it's great and it's important to recognize that. But as far as talking about it, we're no experts. We're not people that should be talking about it. So we're just not
For
going to do
real.
that. We're here to bring good vibes. We're here to bring great content that you can watch, that you can listen to, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or if you're on the YouTube channel. Good segue, Kevin. If you
That's
haven't
right.
subscribed already, please do so. We're at 77 subscribers. I don't know how the fuck we're at that because I haven't posted shit. But 77 subscribers on the road to 100. 100.
That's right. The century mark, man. 23 more. Come
A
on.
century more. Hey, bro, 23 more subscribers, and I'm about to turn 23. Jordan,
right.
Last Dance. Boom!
That's right. You know what's wild too is that I'm still 21, and you're about to turn 23.
Damn, I'm a cougar.
I'm a baby, bro.
No, dude, I didn't know you were 21.
Yeah, man.
When's your
I'm a
birthday?
baby. June 29th.
Oh,
Nine-
shit, that's close.
Yeah, it's close, bro. It's a
Damn,
month. It's like,
bro.
what, 28 days now? Yeah.
Damn. Who wears number 22?
The GOAT, the best running back of all time. Don't at me, Emmitt Smith.
Oh. I'm trying to think of like a dumb name.
damn.
I was about to be like, O.J. Simpson.
Wait, he was 32? Was he?
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
32.
Yeah, he was 32,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. He was 32.
The White Bronco.
Yeah, so that's also that's another topic. So
What's another topic?
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Hey, bro, the glove don't fit. That's all that matters.
I actually recently just finished watching the FX show they made about him.
Oh, you barely watched that? Dude, that was a
Yeah,
good show.
It's good, man. It's really good. Yeah, I recommend people go watch it. It's
For
pretty
sure.
damn good.
The same thing, because FX makes good fucking shows. Like,
Yeah.
Really good shows. Like, isn't it Atlanta? Like the Childish
Yeah, yeah.
Donald Glover show?
Atlanta
on FX?
was on. Yeah, Atlanta was on FX, and then.
Did you ever watch The Assassination of Gianni Versace?
You know what? I was halfway and I didn't like it.
What?
I didn't like it. I
Bro,
didn't like
that
it.
show was a banger.
Nah, bro. I was like halfway and then I stopped watching it because I just didn't like it. It was boring me, honestly.
What, bro?
Yeah.
Because I never knew anything about Versace, so when it came down to the part where he just like walks up to like his front door or like the front gate and just gets shot, I was like,
Like,
wait,
damn.
I didn't know this.
Some Randy just popped the cap in his ass, unfortunately.
Dude, fucking Vice City over here is GTA.
Yeah, man. No, but I've actually been watching like a lot of HBO shows lately, so
Yeah, you told me about that.
yeah. I think I've watched Euphoria. That's a little crazy, I'm not gonna lie. It reminds me a lot of like 13 Reasons Why, but like minus the suicide and all that. So yeah, it's pretty good though. I recommend it.
I mean, I didn't like 13 Reasons Why, so you kind of got me on that
That's-
one.
That I couldn't watch like the last half of the second season, just because they started getting like really like starting to get a little wild.
I hated the way the first season ended. because like they just rode off into the sunset all happy. I was like, a girl just committed
Yeah.
suicide and called you all out.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be happy about this.
And it's like, hey, you know, it is what it is, right? It's basically what they said in the show.
Dude, no, and then the scene with the hot tub with Bryce, I was like,
Oh,
I'm kind of
yeah.
out. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
outta
That
here.
I mean, if anything, like it made its point, but a little
oh,
too
it
much.
did. No, it was important. Like,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
focused a lot, but also like the entire show kind of sparked like a really bad like movement of like suicide and like joking about it.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of weird how that show played out. But I mean, I watched the first season. I was like, okay, after the first like 2 episodes, you're kind of like, this is just dragging on, and you're like
Yeah.
waiting for it to happen, and then it
And then
just
it
happens
finally
at the
happens.
end, and you're just kind of like, okay, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, we were just waiting for this moment.
Yeah, that's true. But don't know.
Anyways, bro. Anyways,
Anyway.
the first topic I always actually want to like talk about
all right.
was like how we met, like how we like became friends, because it's kind of a weird
Damn.
story.
It is actually. It is.
Like you were just telling me how like you and Gilbert have been friends since kindergarten. That's not the case with us.
No, it's not actually. We're all right. So who wants to start? You or me?
From my point of view,
All right.
the only thing that I remember from like Pebble Hills Elementary School where we like met essentially
Yeah.
is being in PE, and whenever we'd have like those days where you can just do anything but you have to run the track first, like you have to
Oh,
run 3 laps, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
And then I just remember like, you know, just going at my pace, bro. I'm just jogging. I'm barely
Yeah.
walking at this point. I don't care. And
Yeah.
then I remember just you like passing me, like lapping me 3 times because you just
Yeah.
ran like as fast as you could, but you were always in the front. And I was like, this motherfucker is just Usain Bolt.
Listen, man. When you're born and given some long legs, you gotta use them, right? I mean, you can't just be walking around all the time. You gotta use them. So
I did say that. I was like, you got some long ass legs.
yeah, it's funny too because like I remember like one of the things that like my family just always used to like poke fun at me about is that like I was always like kind of like improportional when it comes to my body. Like I had these like long ass legs and then like this like medium sized torso.
Oh, dude, same.
Yeah, and they would always be like, man, like you look like a palo, like a stick in Spanish. And yeah, bro, like it's so funny, but yeah, no, I get you.
Dude,
Yeah,
I'm the
that
same
was
way.
like-
I got long legs and like kind of a shorter upper body. See, the only
Yeah.
difference between you and me is like I'm not athletic.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah.
I was just like, fuck it. I was like good at some sports, but not like great.
Yeah, no. But so at least from what I remember when it comes to Pebbles is that so I knew you. I think we talked like like not a lot, but like we had some classes together and like but they were kind of like those pleasantries you have when you're a kid like oh hey, what's up? Like
Oh yeah. It
Yeah,
wasn't
you know,
like
it
we
was-
were like friends.
yeah, it was super small, but that's all I remember really cuz like I would remember I would see you like in PE and you'd be playing with like your own friends or whatever. But like I was always like playing some sort of sport, like whether
Mhm.
it be like soccer, like football or like even sometimes baseball when they would allow us. But yeah, but like me and you were from like whole different worlds honestly back in the day.
Yeah. It was tougher too because I was in the bilingual class. And
That's
you were,
right.
And you were with the white people.
I was with the white people. That's right. I honestly forgot you were in the bilingual class.
Yeah, bro. How do you forget the
Yeah.
one white kid amongst the
That's-
Mexicans? That's why I always
that's
played
right.
soccer.
Yeah, that's right.
That's how I got along with them.
Okay. Yeah. So we didn't really talk a lot in elementary school. And then when we went to Indian Ridge, I remember that the one thing I do remember is that every now and then I would hear your name and then I would always hear it with like, yo, he always hangs out with a bunch of girls. And I was like,
Gang shit.
damn, like my man's got some like moves
Dude, I
or
used to, bro.
something, bro. Like I was like, okay, like all right, cool, like that's Let's I guess. But I think if anything, like we didn't really talk at all in middle school.
Not
At
gonna
all.
lie, Chief. I didn't remember you going to Indian. Ridge.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's my point. So we didn't talk a lot, and then obviously like high school, like I went to Eastwood. Like
Yeah.
my parents yoinked me out, and they were like, "You're not going to Hanks," and I'm like, "All right, I guess." So I went to
blame
Eastwood. We
them.
obviously didn't talk. Yeah. So and then yeah, so it was 20. It was 20 last year, right? 2019, right? The Fort Worth event.
Yeah, yeah. Because I
Yeah.
still have the memory on Snapchat.
Yeah. So it was last year. Me and Gilbert were like thinking about going to Fort Worth, and we were like, yeah, let's do it. And then like out of nowhere, he was like, "Yo, you remember Lutz?" And I was like, "No, I don't remember Lutz." And he was like, "Yeah, you remember Lutz? Like he went to elementary school." And I was like, "Okay, like vaguely, yes." And he was like, "He's into this stuff too, and like he lives over there." And he was like, "Would you down and like be hanging out there?" I'm like, "Bro, like I don't give a fuck. Let's do it. Like the more the merrier, right?" So we went out, and then we went over there, and then we met up, and bro, that like what was like the Cheesecake Factory, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
first like night that we really like hung out.
Yeah, bro, that was like nothing like was different, bro. Like it was cool. Like we got on real quick. Like
Oh, dude, it was instant.
yeah,
Like our humor was the exact same because like I
Yeah.
was with Nick and like I was cool with Gilbert, but like Gilbert's just like a more quiet guy
yeah.
and he's chilling. I love him.
He's
But
chilling,
just-
bro. He vibes all the time. So I
Yeah.
love about him.
Yeah, he's just there. Like he's
Yeah.
chilling. But then like you, me, and Nick were just like just rambling on about like stupid shit, and it was like, oh, bro, he's one of us.
yeah. No, that's one thing that like, because I'm like a really like sociable person when it comes to like just like rambling and going on when it comes to topics that like I like. And bro, like I think I remember too that like there was one point in time where like we were like a certain topic for like 30 minutes, and we didn't even notice that like our food was already like wasn't even there yet.
Oh, dude,
like,
yeah.
talking.
We were just like, wait, it's already here?
Yeah, that was cool, man. Yeah, so I guess that's the like best compressed story of how like our friendship is nowadays.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And ever since then,
Yeah.
like, we talk like almost every day.
Yeah, ever since we like got back from Fort Worth, like it's been like every week or like every couple days, or like I hit you up or
Yeah.
you hit me up, and yeah, it's cool, man. It's sick.
Dude, I fucking love it.
The boys love
Yeah.
it, man.
I
Yeah.
honestly think that one of those topics was like talking about like our memories of like Call of Duty, like watching Call of Duty.
Dude. Oh man, I got so many, bro. I've been watching Call of Duty since what I was like 10 Black Ops 2 days.
Oof. I got in during Ghost. Because my
Ghost,
my first ever event that I watched was X Games.
Oh,
of
okay.
course, like, that's why I love Optic,
Yeah. So you got much love to Optic right here.
There you
see.
go, man. I love it. I love it.
Unfortunately, the
Oh,
fall.
it's dead.
Yeah,
it's dead, bro.
It's dead. You see Optic on Twitter? That's not Optic. That's fake Optic.
That's not Optic, dude.
That's not Optic.
Dude,
Yeah.
did you see the speech that Hitch did? I know a lot of people don't know about like Call of Duty or like or even
Esports in general.
the scene, yeah.
Yeah.
But Hitch used to be on Optic when it was like good, like made it
Yeah,
phenomenal. And then like they were doing the speech where they got like 15,000 subscribers on Twitch, 30,000 on YouTube, and then
Oh,
they,
yeah.
they like they were thanking everybody, but then like during the speech he's like, Optic died in 2018, and I'm like, Jesus Christ,
Dude,
He's
my
gonna
man
say
has
that?
no chill, bro.
Oh no, dude! I would watch
Yeah.
like his like the old visions, like
Oh,
right before the
dude.
transition, and then the what's it called? Like that
His
show he
daily
does.
vlogs?
No, not the day. Well, sort of. He would talk about it there, but like the bar.
Around the bar.
Around the bar, yeah. Where he
Yeah,
would
with
just,
Big
like,
T.
Yeah, the one day he was just kind of like, look, this is everything that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Infinity or whatever.
In Infinite Esports. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was
yeah.
like, oh, he just spilled the tea, bro.
Did you see his podcast with Hector on the Eavesdrop?
Yes. Yeah.
So that is the episode where he really just like let it all out. There were some things he still couldn't say at the time, but that's when he really like dropped everything.
Yeah.
And
Because he had the
really,
book,
like,
right?
Yeah, he had
a
the book.
where he's just like, this is where it happened.
My man had like literally calendars and like
Scroll
timelines
through.
of how he was like flipping pages, like, and then this happened, this is when that happened. And yeah, man, it sucks because like it, and it's funny too because like whenever Hector like talks about like the old Optic, he always says like, I don't regret what I did because it made Optic big enough for those 2 years to get
Yeah.
into, you know, like the Overwatch League or like get a CSGO team or, you know, get like a League team. No, a Dota team like for a while. But like man, like you got to think that every now and then, like Hector thinks about it and he's like, damn, like what did I do? You know?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks because of like all the memories that like all of us had prior to being bought
Yeah.
out by Infinite,
Mhm.
and like what actually happened after. Like I remember like meeting Jay at the first like Fort Worth event that they had over here.
Really?
I took a picture with him. I met Hex, I met Zuma,
Yeah.
Jay, and I remember like meeting Jay. I was happy, bro. Jay is like
Yeah.
an awesome person. But then
Yeah.
hearing like all this stuff about him and how he like
Yeah.
sold out, he like he just left Optic to die, and like he did everything, like his decisions ultimately killed Optic. I was kind of like, oh, that sucks. I mean, he's a cool guy, but at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like he did ruin one of the greatest things that, like, honestly, like is one of the reasons why we're best friends. Why Nick and I are best friends. Like we got together because we fell in love with Optic, or
Yeah.
like he was
Big time.
already into it, and like
Yeah.
he was just telling me as we were playing Call of Duty, he was like, "Hey, why don't you watch like the league, or like why
Yeah.
don't you watch esports?" And I was like, "All right, I'll try it." And then I just fell in love with it, and ever since then, like we've been boys because of it. And,
Yeah, man.
And thinking
Big
about
time.
the memories. Dude,
Yeah.
I'll like sometimes like at night I'll just like watch like the compilation, like best Optic
Oh,
moments.
dude, same. Every now
It's
and then,
it's
I,
beautiful.
I every now and then, like I at night, like I watch like those like Scuff House compilations.
Hmm.
Oh, dude, whenever I see those, like honestly, like I get really sad, like because those are the times, man, where like that's when Optic was at its best, bro. Like the Scuff House, like 2016,
For sure.
2017 Optic,
Yeah.
like that was like the peak for them, bro. Like Gears was like winning nonstop. Like they won champs in 2017. You know, the CS:GO team, like I think it was like 2016 where they beat Astralis
Yeah.
at
E League
E
final?
League. Yeah, like bro, like no one beats Astralis, but
No,
like
dude.
but Optic did, and it was like, bro, everything was going up. Like literally, nothing could bring down like that like time that peak. And then 2018 just happened where that when Hex tweeted like, oh, like we're moving to Texas, and everybody was like, what? Like, what do you mean you guys are moving to Texas? And then that's when all the info came out, and I guess that was like the beginning of the downfall.
I was happy because like they're coming to me.
Yeah,
Dude, I
yeah.
remember doing a story for UNT. Like I had to
Mm.
do a story on the National Soccer Hall of Fame, which is
Mm.
literally across the
Yeah,
street from Hex's headquarters.
yeah. Hex quarters. He always posts that in his vlogs.
And I was like, my God, he's like right there. And like I remember
Yeah.
going to the firehouse that's like there where all, like Hitch, Hex always go to eat. And I'm like,
Mhm,
what if they
yeah.
just walk in? Like that's could happen.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I've literally spent the last like few years of my life like dedicated about Optic and watching Call of Duty. And
yeah,
imagine the guy that like is from our hometown of El Paso
yeah.
could
That's
just like
true.
literally walk in. I could just be like, "Yo, what's up?" Like that's awesome.
Yeah,
It's so like it's just so easy, and 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 I thought the move to Texas was a great move, but I mean I didn't know that all of this other shit was gonna go down.
yeah. It's funny you say that because I remember when we went to Fort Worth, Gilbert and I, like, bro, literally 20 minutes into us just being in the venue, Hex was right behind us, and we were like, oh shit, like let's go take a picture with Hex, and we took the pictures, and then when we took the picture, we were like, hey man, like much love from El Paso, like we drove all the way over there from here, and he was all like, oh, like you guys are from Chuco Town, and I was like,
Yeah,
yeah.
bro. I
And
remember that too.
cool. Yeah, and he was super cool, man. Like, he always talks about like how he loves El Paso, and like every single time he's like in Texas, like going west, like he stops here, and like it's sick, man. It's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I miss it. I miss El
Yeah.
Paso.
Uh I like how you say you miss it while I'm the one that kind of wants to leave.
Oh, while you're there, like I think everybody in El Paso like did this, and like right before I left for college, I was like, I want to get the fuck out of here. Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to go because
Yeah.
of just like the stuff in my life, and plus UTEP didn't have my major, so I was like, there's
Yeah.
no point.
Yeah.
But like, once you leave and like you start to like fit into like everything else here, it's not the same. It really
Dude,
isn't.
it's really not. And like for me, like, where like you mentioned it before, like on a podcast where like, like my passion's like esports, and I actually want to work in the esports industry, and like I can't do that here,
There's
like
nothing.
yeah, so like I'm trying to move out to like where you are, like East Texas, like that Fort Worth, like
DFW,
Frisco, yeah, all that area, because like Texas is becoming that like big esports hotspot. So yeah, man, I'm trying to get out of here after I graduate college. Hopefully, I graduate next year, so maybe in like 2 years, I'll
Hmm.
probably be over there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like, it's just the culture. It's just the atmosphere of El Paso is just much better than what it is here. I mean, when I'm in a good area where it's like predominantly like rich old white people,
yeah, yeah,
like it's kind of just hard to like kind of fit in where you're just like I I did not grow up with this. Like I grew up
yeah,
like in a Mexican household around like a Hispanic culture, and
yeah,
like you literally like know everyone in the city, even though they're
yeah.
like
That's
an
true.
hour away. Like
Yeah,
you still like feel that bond, and like dude, it's honestly surprising how many people here are from El Paso.
really. You
Yeah,
met a
like
lot. Yeah.
do a lot at Best Buy alone. Like I'll help people, and then like you ask for their phone number, and they're like 915, and I'm like,
What?
okay, hold up.
Rep
You're
rep the
rep the
hometown.
hometown, bro. A guy walked in
Yeah,
with Chihuahua's like hat, and I was like, you know
that's
what?
nice. That's sick.
That's boys right there.
That's boys right there.
And
Yeah.
like every single time, like we all talk for probably like at least 20 minutes, which is bad for
Yeah.
me because I should be selling stuff
Yeah,
to
yeah, that's
customers.
true.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, like my boss sees it and he's like, why did you like seem so happy with them? I'm like they're basically like my friends, like they're basically family because we're
Yeah.
from the same hometown. We
Yeah.
we grew up the same way. So like you ask them like what side of the town are you from? It's like, oh, what high school did you go to? And then, like you just fucking talk shit about their high school.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's the thing that like with El Paso, like, because it like you said, like you grew up here, like this is your hometown.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, like you moved for like a better opportunity, like in your case where you said that UTEP doesn't have sports journalism, and like that's where it benefited you. But bro, everybody gets that where like you're gonna miss your hometown like later
Yeah.
on in life. So yeah, I get you, and I know for a fact I am too. But like right now, like when you're like young and like you need to make obvious money in the world to live, like you gotta get out. You
For
gotta
sure.
get out.
I
Yeah.
think it was like ultimately it was the best thing for me because at such a young age I already accomplished some stuff that nobody could do in their life. Like I worked at a radio station that was working with the Chihuahuas.
Yeah,
Like, I was
that's
producing
sick.
Chihuahuas games
Yeah,
at like 17.
yeah,
What am I gonna do like while I'm there? Like I pretty much did all I could
yeah,
until I had to leave
yeah,
because like I don't want to just work for the El Paso Times. Like I just can't do it.
yeah.
Like
No,
I
no,
covered
no, no.
I covered every Hanks like sports game that I could.
Yeah, that's true. I remember you told me that you were like you were there, you were covering like all their teams.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's what a lot of the people at the El Paso Times or like news anchors did, and I was doing it at like half their age. So
Yeah.
I was like, well, I mean, I made a name for myself. Like, might as well take it somewhere else.
Yeah, and also too, like when it comes to like UNT, like I know UNT isn't like top 10 team in the nation or whatever, but it's still D1 football. You're
Oh,
covering,
so,
yeah, you're covering D1 football. I mean, that's that's a damn good resume. Where you can put on your resume and look good. It's just there's just so much more opportunities like elsewhere than here.
dude, literally, like you don't even need UNT. You don't even need college. You can just do high school football, and you're set for life.
Yeah, that's true. We do live in Texas where it's like a religion here.
Like I remember the first year, like when I started doing that job where I worked at the Dallas Morning News, covered high school football for them, and they would just say, "Hey, go here, just go cover this football team, get their stats, get a story done, and you're good. We'll pay you $100." I'm like, at like 18,
That's
I'm like,
easy money.
dude, dub. Like, just give me the money. I'll do 20 games a week. I don't care.
Yeah,
But it wasn't even about the money. It was about like loving football. Like I would
Yeah.
be at Hanks games and be like, "This is phenomenal," even though they sucked. Like they were terrible. I was like, "This is where I belong. I belong like on the sidelines covering football."
yeah,
So when I was doing it like in the media box or whatever, and doing stats and everything, I would sit there and be like, "This private school that has 22 players on their team is better than Hanks." Like they can beat the shit out of Hanks.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
That's how good it is over here. I remember being at one school where it was like they had maybe 30 players on the team, and none of them were like considered to play in college except for one. And that one guy was like a defensive end, 6'4", 235. He's going to Notre Dame. And
Jesus
I was like,
Christ.
what are you doing at a school that's like smaller than Hanks? Like
Yeah.
it was so small,
You
and
you know
yet,
what's no,
go
no.
ahead.
I'll say I have a similar story with that because when I was a senior at Eastwood, that was like the best year that the Eastwood football team had. Like I think they went like what, like 10-2 or something like that. They were like balling out. Like they won districts, they won regionals, but then they went to like I guess the state, and bro, we got rocked. Like I think the score was like 55-7. Like it
Yeah.
was awful. I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was like I don't think it was Allen because Allen's like top notch
Ooh, Allen,
football.
dude, no.
Yeah, I don't think it was Allen, but it was a team like them where like they were like super super good. We ended up finding out that their quarterback was Shane Buechele, the guy that got committed to Texas and started like 2 years at Texas before this Sam Ellinger kid came up.
Nice.
But like, yeah, so when I found that out, I was like, oh, that's why we got rocked. We got rocked by a Texas commit, bro. Like, there's no way we're gonna.
Wasn't there like a wide receiver at Eastwood that was like balling out?
Yeah, so we had three players that all had D1 offers, and the first one was Mark. Mark, no, was it Mark? Yeah, it was Mark. Mark Torres, I believe. He
Oh yeah, I remember that name.
yeah, Mark Torres. He actually plays for UTEP now.
Nice.
I think he's the second string right now. I don't know for sure. I think he's the second string. Then we had a wide receiver. His name was Aaron Portillo, I think. I heard he got a lot of D1 offers, but he declined them to stay at UTEP. I don't know. I don't know exactly how true that is. Don't quote me on that. But our main guy that we had, like for sure, like best player on the team, like literally scouts would come every single game, was Richie Rodriguez. I think you heard that name before.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Richie, like dude, that guy was a baller. Jesus Christ, every single game, just like he would carry the team, bro. Like he would literally carry the team. And he's actually at UTEP right now. I think he's like the second string running back, if I remember correctly. Um, but yeah, like all three of them had, I think, like multiple D1 offers, but like they decided to stay at home. Why? It's not my business.
It's El
It's their
Paso,
deal.
bro. It
It's El Paso,
happens.
yeah. But yeah, those three guys were like, dude, like those were the three guys that made Eastwood like so good that year, and like we still got rocked by that like East.
It's a different story, dude.
Yeah, it's a different, man. It's really
Different.
different.
I
Yeah.
mean, like, I always tell like journalists who I meet at football games and like people that I just met over here, I tell them like, oh, I graduated from Hanks. And they're like,
Mhm.
oh, do you know like Canotillo, like Coronado? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like
Yeah.
they were the best teams in our
Yeah.
city. But
Yeah.
I mean, once they come over here, it's over. Like the
Oh
one year
yeah.
that Canotillo went like Final Four,
Oh
I
yeah.
was like happy. I was like, this is amazing. Like they got that far, because
Yeah.
I make it a tradition every year to where I go to the Cowboy Stadium
Mhm.
at the end of the UIL like state championships, like
Oh
final
yeah.
games of every division, 6A, 5A, whatever. And I'll just go for like Friday or a Saturday. I'll just go and watch every football game. There's 3 football games all day. You just buy a ticket and you can watch all 3 of them. But I'll just sit
Mhm.
there like by myself because like no one else really over here like wants to watch football like I do, and they'll
Dude.
maybe at most watch one football game. I'll watch all 3. I don't give a shit.
Bro, it's so funny you mentioned that because like I've told you this before that like bro, like you are literally like the only person in my life that like loves football as much as
Yeah,
I do.
like dedicated
Like
to it.
yeah, like dedicated, bro. Like I've had football like been a part of my life ever since I was like what 5, 6, ever since I could like realize what was going on. And it's funny too because Gilbert's pretty into he's pretty big into football too, but like not like us where like we like literally like live and breathe it, you know?
Hmm.
And and yeah, like I would have like in my case, like bro, like going to that stuff with you, like that would be sick because bro, watching 3 football games like in a day, shit, why the hell not? You
Yeah,
know? Like
and
that's
it's teams
sick.
like Allen, it's teams like
Yeah.
Southlake that are like have D1 commits at every position basically.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, man. Over here, like you never really see like any other team go like I said, like my senior year, Issa was really good. We made it all the way to like I think like regionals if I remember correctly that year that all three of them were there. But like we got fucking like we got whomped, you know, like
Hmm.
there's such a big difference. And you said like too, like on Theo, like when they went over there, like yeah, like that was amazing, but I
And
mean,
they got throttled
yeah,
in the
bro.
Final Four game. They got destroyed, dude.
Yeah,
I was
it's
happy they
such a
scored a
difference.
touchdown.
It's such a big difference, dude. And like, I don't know. I feel like me and you like click a lot because, bro, like literally, like whenever something big happens, like you're the first one I text right away. Like, bro, like you're never gonna believe what just happened. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, if it's the Cowboys, it's over. Like, I only like really text you because if I
Yeah.
tell like someone else, I'm not gonna name names. Like, it's not everybody that does this, but like, there's some
Yeah.
people where like they talk to me about the Cowboys. I'm like, you don't know anything.
Oh, dude.
Like, you don't.
Listen, so Gilbert's gonna watch this podcast, and I want him to show his friend. His name is Steven. I'm gonna call him out. I don't care. His friend is one of the most. I'm not gonna be mean, but I'll say he has the most deluded opinion about Dak Prescott I've
Jeez,
ever
don't.
heard in my life.
Don't do it. Don't do it like when
So-
it's like right there.
Yeah.
Don't do
So if we ever get into that topic, this podcast, I want him to show us. I think his name is Steven, if I remember correctly. I want him to show him this because, my man, you're wild with your opinions. Like it's insane. If we get to it, I'll explain to you. But yeah,
It's
it's
horrible.
wild.
Like being
wild.
like in this situation with the pandemic, like sports
Yeah.
networks are just stupid right now.
Dude, it's insane. Like
so stupid.
there's so many like people that are getting on these rumors of like, oh, like Dak wants 45 million a year. I'm like, bro, where are you getting this? Like what? Where are you getting this information? Because every single
to
time.
be fair, that is true. He wants 45 million in his last year of his contract.
Yeah.
But he's trying to get a 4-year contract rather than a 5-year contract.
That's true. However, like, remember that like I think it was Chris Sims that like made that report where it was like he wants like 40 million a year, and I'm like, and then like it literally came out like a couple hours later, like Adam Schefter and like Ian Rappaport, he was all like, I don't know where these reports are coming from, but these are all false. And I'm like, bro, like why? Like why would it? I think like you said it before multiple times. The only reason why he gets all this is because he is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
You know, like when do you ever hear stuff like this about Patrick Mahomes? You know, someone who already deserves to be paid $40 million a year. You know, when do you ever hear stuff about that? When do you ever hear stuff about, you know, like, well, you hear stuff about Aaron Rodgers, but not like this. But like, when do you ever hear stuff about Aaron Rodgers? When do you hear stuff about that? You know, when it comes to like when like I think we were talking about this the other day, when like Matt Ryan and Matthew Stafford, quarterbacks that, in my opinion, do not deserve anywhere near $30 million. But when do you hear stuff about that? You know,
Or it just
It's
goes
always
away like
Dak.
immediately. It's one day of just
Exactly.
like berating them, and then you're like, all right, let's move on. All right, let's go back to
Exactly.
Dak.
yeah. But with Dak, it's all like, oh,
It's every
my
day.
man wants 40 million, and then it's like, sorry, that's false. No, he wants 40 million. He wants 40 million. It's like, bro, like lay off. My God.
It's ridiculous because like I'll defend Dak Prescott to a certain extent. I do not believe he is the best quarterback in the NFL.
Agreed.
And to
Agreed.
be honest, you can make a solid argument that he's like 15th in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think he's better, but you can make an argument that he's like average or just above average.
I personally put Dak Prescott as top 10 in the NFL. He is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Right now, I mean, granted, don't get me wrong, like, bro, when we have, you know, like the God himself, Patrick Mahomes, like, dude, there is such a big gap between Patrick Mahomes and who would be second right now?
Well, like,
In, like-
from my opinion, like from that tier list that I made, it was like your elite was Tom Brady, Drew Brees,
Yeah.
and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is just the elite of elite, and then right under that, I was like almost elite. I was like Dak, Kyler Murray. What I believe, Carson Wentz is up there too. Yeah, you can make like Aaron Rodgers in that same argument, but it's a huge gap. It
It's
really
a
is.
huge gap. Yeah.
Like Patrick Mahomes is just, you can't breed that. You can't
No.
build a quarterback like that. That is
No.
just a God-given talent.
And see, you know what's the crazy part too is that how is it? It's so crazy that things lined up this way. How do you get such a generational talent as Patrick Mahomes, and then draft him to a team that has Andy Reid.
Yeah. Who
Andy
loves
Reid.
just a gunslinger. Who loves
Exactly.
like a passing offense.
Like that's the stuff right there that we were talking about this recently, where like that's the difference between a good organization like the Chiefs in this example to like a shitty organization like the Browns. Like, you know, you have, and we've agreed on this. Baker Mayfield, in my opinion and yours, has the potential to be an MVP. I know
Yes.
people don't like that argument. I think it's dumb that people don't agree. Look at his rookie year. He has the numbers, he has the skill. But what I don't like is that you got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, but then you got Baker Mayfield, and it's like, oh, sorry, Baker, we're gonna throw in this guy that you said you liked and see what happened. It's like, what kind of decision is that?
Yeah.
You need. I mean, frankly, I don't know how Kevin Stefanski, right?
Stefanski, yeah.
Yeah, how he's gonna do this year, because frankly, I don't. As
We've
mean
never
as
seen
this
him at that
is.
position. We've never
Yeah.
seen him as the leader.
Exactly, because I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, we're fans of a team that have horrific special teams, but still, you know, he's a special teams coach. I'm sorry, I would like to see what he does. You know, and for me, when the whole thing happened with Freddie Kitchens, where he got promoted, 6 months after he got the offensive coordinator spot, like, what is that? Like, that's horrific decision making. I think the Browns are just. I don't know. I don't know what's up with that organization. I feel like that organization is cursed. Literally every single thing they do leads to like just like a cliff where it just falls down. Bro, please explain to me how you go from a year of promise where they went like what, 7-8-1 in
Yeah.
Baker.
I mean, they were just under 500.
Yeah. How do you go from 7-8-1 to what, like 5-11 they went? 6-10 this year? 4-12, somewhere like that?
I think 4 and 12.
4-12. How do you go from that to that when you, in my opinion, got even better on paper? You got hands down the top 5 receiver in the NFL in OBJ. You got Jarvis Landry, that's one of like the most consistent slot guys in the game. You got Antonio Callaway, a guy that can burn you off the line. You got a pretty decent offensive line. It's not great, but it's good.
It's bad. It's bad.
They're still okay. They're not as horrific as other teams, but I don't get it. And then not even to mention, you have Nick Chubb, dude. You have Nick Chubb. He's
dominated.
so good.
I mean, he was up there, like top 5 in almost every category.
Like, and I know we're talking about just the offense. The defense is a whole separate issue.
Well, the defense, in my opinion, is probably one of the better, like, optimistic-wise things about the Browns. They have a front 7 that is, I mean, physical. That's led by Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett, yeah.
And then they did make some moves in their secondary where I'm like, oh, you should have kept that guy. But their secondary was talented across the board.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought they were a good overall team, not just their offense.
Yeah.
But I mean, they lost a lot of the games last year by less than like a score, or they made some small, bad decisions that ultimately cost them at the end of the game. But like they kept up with the Ravens. They kept up with like pretty good teams around the AFC.
They beat the Ravens.
They beat the Ravens one time.
Yeah.
And then there was a game on Sunday night. I forget who they played, but they like lost it at the goal line. They couldn't score. I forget the team. Was it Seattle? No, it wasn't Seattle.
No.
I can't remember the team. It was a Sunday night game. I was like, you should have won that, and that would have been a big game to win.
I think I know which game you're talking about. I don't remember the team either because this was the one year where like the Browns actually had like prime time spots for the first time in forever because of the promise. I mean, dude, everybody saw the promise. I mean, like you said, like, the defense is pretty viable. It's just the offense is what kind of like blew their season, in my opinion. And
they had no offense.
I just don't get how, when you have that much talent on your team, like it just doesn't make sense to me. And also
the Rams. It was the Rams game.
Rams.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And actually, that was the game that I think they got eliminated from the playoffs, and that put the Rams in contention.
Well, no,
Remember?
that was very early on in the season.
Was it?
Yeah.
I think it was another game that I'm
It was like
thinking
week
of.
3 or week 4.
Yeah. Then it was another game I'm thinking of.
Wasn't
like
it? Aren't you thinking about the Steelers game?
the Steelers and Steelers and Browns.
Yeah,
That like
because
idiotic.
that kept the
Yeah.
Steelers in contention of making the
Oh,
playoffs,
that's
and that
right.
ultimately like ruined the
Yeah.
Browns. And it also was
Yeah.
the day that Miles Garrett went on fucking
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph's
Yeah.
head.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So that was the game, and that game was pretty close too at
Oh,
that
was
certain
down
point
the
in
wire.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that moment of Miles Garrett, I think the Browns ultimately would have won that game.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. I think the Browns are like a prime example of like they have the talent, but just the front office just doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean when
And-
you have like if you have Hugh Jackson as your coach for most years, and like you're okay with mediocrity, there's not much you can do. But I think ultimately like there is that mental block or that mental kind of effect of we're the Browns, like we're meant to fuck up, we're meant
Yeah.
to screw up here. So it's either it happens again and we continue the tradition, or we break it, which is even harder because ultimately everybody thinks we're gonna fail.
It's
that's
like
hard.
it's like they created their own like leeway to mess up.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, like we went 6-10, but you know we're the Browns, so it's all right. It's like no, like and you know what? I think one unjust thing that did happen. Well, it wasn't really unjust because you know he was the one that made the call, but the firing of John Dorsey, in my opinion, was a little 50-50.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One because he's the one that made the call to put Freddie Kitchens as the head coach. However, dude, the 2018, 2017 draft classes for the Browns, they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
They were
They
great.
drafted very well.
Yeah, and that was all John Dorsey in his first 2 years of being the GM.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say it wasn't warranted, because when you make a mistake like that, like you should be punished, you should be held liable. But do I think firing was the answer? It's kind of 50-50. I don't know how I feel about that firing specifically.
And that's another thing too, is that how much these teams like the Browns, I mean like some other bad teams around the league or just in sports in general, how they panic.
Yeah.
Like for a team to give a coach 1 or 2 years and say, if you don't win, you're out of here. And like Freddie Kitchens is one of those examples where he just didn't work out in 1 year. And I'm a guy that's willing to give a guy another chance because I get it. It takes time. It takes at least 3 years for someone to adjust to a coach and really start to feel like there's momentum going. Freddie Kitchens is a outlier because Freddie Kitchens is a horrible coach. He
Yeah,
is
he
a
was-
coordinator coach. That's
Yeah.
best what he can do because he did not look like a coach. He didn't
not
seem
at
like a leader to me. So like when you look at some other teams around the league that are just like starting to grow a little bit more, like Brian Flores in Miami.
In Miami, dude.
Like it's gonna take time, but if you just give them time, that's more than enough for a team like Miami that maybe goes 500 this year, maybe goes 9-7, but maybe in 2 years when like everybody's used to Coach Flores, I'm all for the guy. I'm behind that guy. But
Yeah.
it's organizations like the Browns, like the Redskins, where they're just like, all right, we'll just put in a coach. If he doesn't work out, we'll just send him out next year. It's not going to work that way.
The Redskins are such a hot mess. It's I feel like the Redskins have started to become what the Browns are. Because when the Redskins were in that RG3 era, when they went to the playoffs like what, 2 years? Like two times in 3 years, right?
Yeah.
So it was RG3's rookie year, and then he got injured. But then the third year was when they went back again, and that was with Kirk Cousins, I
that
think,
was
right?
Kirk Cousins. Like that was when he
Yeah.
was trying to prove himself.
Yeah. So those 2 years were like the last. I mean, those 2 seasons were the last like times where the Redskins were a pretty formidable franchise. But then after that, you just saw like a decline. And then, in my personal opinion, I think one of the like worst decisions they made was letting go of Kirk Cousins because for one, granted, I get it. Kirk Cousins is not an elite quarterback. He is above average.
Mhm.
And I guess to quote like Max Kellerman here, an above average quarterback in the NFL is not bad. It's
Mhm.
not an insult. It's not something like discriminative to say. it's good. You're a good quarterback. So you get rid of Kirk Cousins because you don't want to pay him, and then you get who? Case Keenum. It was Case Keenum, right?
Case
He went to the
Keenum, yes, you flip him with Case Keenum, and like,
yeah,
you've gone with Colt McCoy a couple times.
yeah, Cole McCoy too. Him. I just don't get it. I don't get what the Redskins are doing, and not even to mention that. Please tell me who the running back of the Redskins is right now.
Darius Geis, if he can stay healthy.
Okay,
That's my best answer because
Okay.
that's kind of like a up in the air. Yeah, like Darius
see
Geis
it?
is the #1 running back. He's the best running back on the roster.
100%.
But the
I
dude can
agree.
walk out of his house and break a fucking ankle.
And it's awful, dude, because he had so much promise. I remember when he was coming out of the draft, people were comparing him to Leonard Fournette.
Oh, dude, I thought he was better than Leonard Fournette. I thought he was
A
faster
point
than Leonard
exactly.
Fournette, and I was like, this guy is going to be something. And I was scared that the Redskins got him. Because
And-
NFC East running back is, if you
Yeah.
get him going, dude, defenses in the NFC East cannot handle a really
Yeah.
good running back.
Yeah, it's true. And that's my point. Like exactly what you like you couldn't think of the name. Like, bro, how the hell do you not know like a certain team's running back, you know? Also in your own division, you know? Like when you think of the Giants, you think of Saquon. When you think of the Cowboys, you think of Zeke. When you think of the Eagles, you think of like Jordan Howard and like Miles Sanders, that kid that just came out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like
yeah.
the Eagles have really wasted a lot of their running backs.
Yeah, but,
I mean,
but the thing is,
they've
you
had
can still
some
think about it.
Solid guys.
Yeah, but the Redskins, who the hell are they? What's the last notable thing? And also, not even to mention, they've wasted quarterbacks, they've wasted running backs, and also they've wasted wide receiver talent. I mean, I don't know if we had this conversation. A couple of years ago, I thought Josh Doxson was going to take over the league.
Yeah.
He was
I had
so
a lot
talented.
of optimism for Dotson.
And they wasted him. And I think he got injured like towards the end of the season a couple years ago, and they gave up on him. That's it. Like they gave up on him completely. He came back. They never even threw him the ball. And then what I feel bad about is that now this other guy that came in, Terry McLaurin,
Terry McLaurin's a baller.
he's a baller,
I
dude.
love him.
He's a baller, and I'm afraid that's gonna happen to him because that's all the Redskins know how to do is waste talent. That's all they know how to do. And that can be said for a lot of other teams, like the Jets, the Lions, especially the Jets. Jesus Christ, what a horrific franchise!
Dude, I hate the Jets. I just look. I don't know what it is about the Jets, but like getting Adam Gase was horrible. I never thought he was good in Miami. They drafted Sam Darnold, and even before he got drafted, I was like, he is going to be the bust of this entire group. I don't see Sam Darnold being a top tier quarterback. I thought he
agree.
left USC for the money. He didn't leave on like a good, like farewell tour. He played horribly in his second year at USC. He played amazing in his freshman year. He balled out. But when you go that much of a decline in your second year and say, oh, well, I'm still like going to be the #1 overall draft pick, or I'm still going to be like top 3. Oh, well, why the fuck would I go back? Why would I go back for a third year?
Yeah,
And he had so many things to fix up. And that game last year against the Patriots on Monday night, where I'm just seeing him throw interceptions off his back foot because he just panicked. I was like, that's why.
Yeah.
That is why you needed a third year at USC.
And Sam Darnold's. I never thought of him to be a quarterback that can start right away. However, when you get drafted to a team that needs one, and also that doesn't even have a quarterback to begin with, to put him behind, like, what the hell are you gonna do?
Yeah.
You have to throw him in and see what happens. Because in my opinion, the best quarterback from the 2018 draft was Josh Allen.
Ooh,
I thought
not gonna agree with you on that one,
No,
Chief. No,
I thought Josh Allen was like probably the best quarterback like in that draft, and then probably behind was like maybe like Baker Mayfield and like even Josh Rosen to an extent.
Dude, Josh Rosen, I'm sorry, bro. You deserve better, bro. Josh Rosen, man, I feel bad for him. I would give him a hug if I met him right now. I'd be like, bro, you can just go to like the Patriots and win like 6 Super Bowls, and,
Yeah.
and like it'll all be okay because you deserve better.
Yeah, I don't know. I always liked Josh Allen coming out of that draft. I thought he was going to do good things. He's been meh.
He's
I
impressed me in some moments, but when you look at the stats, when you really look at the stats, he's one of the worst, like accuracy wise, deep ball wise in the NFL. And ultimately, like in his highlights, I see running. I see
it's all
plays.
running. Yeah,
and
it
I'm
really
like,
is.
you are a running back at that point.
Yeah, and I think that's why like I can like now fully say that like I was wrong and say that like he obviously wasn't the best quarterback in the draft like in 2018, but at the time I was like I didn't like Baker Mayfield. I thought he was extremely cocky. I didn't like his I didn't like his attitude personally.
Love it.
Playing wise he was phenomenal, but I don't know. I've always had a really big like issue with like players like that, and I don't like that. I thought Josh Rosen was really good coming out of UCLA. I thought he had a lot of talent. I thought he had a lot of promise. Unfortunately, the whole thing with the Cardinals happened, and we all know how that went down. And then I saw Sam Darnold, and I was like, like he seems okay. That's it. He seems okay. Like I remember seeing his highlights and I was like, okay, like this kid can ball, like he knows what to do. And then like you said, his second season he was just like, oh, sorry, I don't know how to play anymore. And I think for me personally, because like I'm a Texas fan, like go Horns all the time, bro, we thrashed them. Well, I don't think it was thrashed. I think it was like a 15-20 point victory. But for a program like USC where like they're known for like making upsets or fighting hard against teams, bro, and Texas defense that year wasn't even that good.
Oh, dude, Big 12 defenses don't exist.
Exactly. So for us to go into the Coliseum and beat him on his own home turf, not that close, might I add. I mean, what more do you want? Like, what more evidence do you want that he wasn't really that good to begin with? So I don't know. I think he can become a good quarterback? Yeah, I think he can. But will it be with the Jets? No, not at all.
No. Well, who's the case that I made for that this year? I was like, if you stay here, Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow. That's right.
If he stays in Cincinnati for most of his career, I promise you, it's gonna be like at the end you're gonna be saying, all right.
And I think the problem nowadays with organizations in the NFL is like, because you have these years where teams do horribly and they end up going to the bottom of the draft. However, some of those teams, they still have the structure in them to get their quarterbacks help,
Yeah.
Like for example, like granted, don't get me wrong, like this is probably a bad example, but at least in the sense, when it comes to the Giants, don't get me wrong, the Giants do not have a great, like offensive power. They got Saquon Barkley. He's top tier.
And they have Saquon Barkley.
And they have also Saquon Barkley.
Don't forget about Saquon Barkley.
But to be fair, Evan Ingram is really good.
Really good. Sterling Shepard,
really good.
Very good.
He's very good. I don't know who their second wide receiver is. Is it still?
Yes, Victor Cruz.
Yes, the salsa man.
The
Poor
salsa
guy.
man.
Poor
Yes,
guy.
Brandon Marshall.
Oh, dude, that was such a horrible experiment.
That was horrible, man.
That was awful.
It was sad
that
to
was
see Brandon
so bad.
Marshall. Who else? Who else died? Like who else's career died with the New York Giants?
Do you remember Steve Smith with the Giants?
No.
Do you remember?
No, dude, I don't remember that. Is that the year that where that's his final year?
No. Not the Steve Smith. The other Steve Smith.
Wait.
You don't remember this?
I'm thinking about Steve Smith, like Carolina Panthers Steve Smith.
No, not him. There was another Steve Smith in the NFL that played with the Giants, and he was decent. He actually wasn't even that bad. But wait, I think now I'm confusing myself. Was his name Steve Smith? I think it was. He was number 12.
Oh yeah.
If I remember correctly. Yeah, Steve Smith. Yeah, he wasn't even that bad.
Oh,
But
that was a long time ago. That's why.
yeah, that's a long time ago. And his career ended with the Giants because I think his last year or like around his career was the year that Eli Manning threw like 27 picks in a season.
Hall of Famer.
He's Hall of Famer apparently. But yeah. But anyway, back to my point. What I'm saying is, just like I'm saying, like they got Saquon, they got Sterling Shepard, they got Evan Ingram, they got at least those core. I think it's the right side of their line that's decent.
Oh, with
The
like
left
Eric
side
Flowers.
is no. Well, back then it was Eric Flowers, but like when they have Will Hernandez, they have Nate Solder, they have their center. I forgot what his name was. He's been there for like a century. God, they're pretty decent. I think it's the left side of the line that's not good, but like at least with them, like they drafted Daniel Jones in a position where he could either somewhat succeed or learn to succeed with targets. Because bro, let's be real. We all know Saquon Barkley is receiver number 3.
Yeah.
Like he's receiver number 3, just like Le'Veon was. Granted, I'm not comparing Le'Veon with, prime Le'Veon with Saquon, but still, he got drafted in a position where he can succeed. In this position with Joe Burrow, dude, who the hell is he throwing to? Let's be real.
Now I'm gonna disagree with you on that. That man's got weapons.
Okay, one of them is always on the sideline, unfortunately. And I love that man. I love AJ Green. But he's always on the sideline, unfortunately. He's always injured. And do not tell me that Tyler Boyd is a top 20 receiver,
I'm not
my
saying
guy.
like Tyler Boyd, but like he's a good number 2 or 3. I mean, he's been one of the most consistent receivers in the NFL. Just stat wise, it's not gonna blow you away, but that man's like consistent. And you also got one of the fastest guys in the NFL, John Ross.
John Ross somewhat elevated his game this season.
Well,
a little
he
bit.
has to stay healthy too.
He has to stay healthy. Yeah.
He wasn't healthy at all in his first season.
In my opinion, the only weapon that Joe Burrow has on that offense, besides, I guess you're right, John Ross, is Joe Mixon. That's it. Joe Mixon he's a really good running back in my opinion. I think he's very underrated. He's just on an
I love Joe Mixon. I mean, he came out of like bad terms out of Oklahoma.
With the whole like the arrest and all that.
I mean, have you seen the video?
Yeah.
Dude, that it's one of the most gruesome things I've ever watched in my life.
It's really bad.
He knocked the girl out.
Yeah.
I mean, swung. And like,
It was bad.
and I remember during the draft, they're like, this might hurt his draft stock. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you punched someone that is like half your size. You knocked him out. Plus, it's a female. I don't think you should be considered at all. Now,
Nope. And he still went second round.
and he still went second round. I mean, he's done great things in the NFL, but it's kind of just like an asterisk next to him. I'm like, oh, dude, I can't say like he's a great person. Like I can't because people are like, oh, you think this is a great person? Like that's the whole thing.
An asterisk like the Houston asterisk.
Bro, don't start. I hate that. I hate that so much. I've never wanted someone to get punished so bad in my life. When I'm watching Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve, George Springer, just literally go into interviews and say, I mean, we're not going to talk about that. Let's just focus on this season. I'm like,
It's a joke. It's a
you
joke. Dude.
cheated, and
It's a
you're
joke.
not even going to talk about it. Like it happened.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
own
a
up
joke.
to it. Just own up, and they're not even doing it.
And it's funny too because like for me that like like I'm a Yankees fan and like dude just look at the series, bro. They won the series 4-3. When they were playing at Houston, the games were like what 2-1, 3-4, 5-3, something like that. Like they were super close scores. You go to Yankee Stadium, all 3 games demolished them, dude. Like I think like each game was an average of like a 5-run difference. Like it sucks. It's very
Look,
very.
bro, I'm just saying, like when you're the Astros and you have that much talent, you literally have an all-star at every position. You don't need to cheat.
But they still did.
You still cheated when you have almost every great player in the MLB. Your pitching staff is ridiculous. You paid the entire like all-star roster in pitchers to be on your team, and yet you say let's cheat. Like it's so stupid. Anyways, look, bro, I'm just saying, man. Like Joe Burrow, like with the draft they had this year, I'm actually pretty like impressed. by how well they did the draft because
They did have a good draft.
they got
yeah.
T. Higgins.
Yeah,
T. Higgins
that's true.
is amazing. They
Yeah,
also got
that is
Xavier Su'a-Filo from the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, I
their guard.
know.
I think that's a great pickup that
That is
no
a great
one will talk
pickup.
about.
Yeah.
It's just their defense. Their defense, just on paper, you're saying, eh. Like, it's just kind of like, you wish it was more. Because remember the Bengals where they were just physical?
Oh yeah, dude.
When they go against the Steelers, it was like a toss-up because it was just
Yeah.
a physical game. Now, Vontaze Burfict, when you're knocking out Antonio Brown, that kind of helps your defense be more physical. But at the end of the day, you can't have those type of hits in the NFL.
I mean, Vontaze Burfict is. I don't know. I don't think we've ever had. Well, I'm not gonna lie. We probably had, but at least in recent memory, who can you think of that has been such an ass? Like, it's. I don't think I don't think I can remember someone like Vontaze Burfict that has done the. Oh, never mind. I just remembered one. Ndamukong Suh. There you go. I don't. They're kind of the same level, but the thing about Ndamukong Suh is that I don't even. I guess he's good. Like, he's a good player. That's why it hasn't really affected him as much as Vontaze Burfict has. Because, bro, let's be real. Vontaze Burfict was never that good. I mean,
he wasn't top tier, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like, his hits, like, it looked like every time he hit a person, he meant to do it.
yeah.
Like, he
And-
looked like he meant to knock out Antonio Brown, which is
Yeah,
horrible.
dude. And I think it was this season when he went to the Raiders.
He went to
And
the
I think-
Raiders, and then he knocked out Jack Doyle, I think, against the Colts.
Yes.
And then
that's
the
what-
NFL was just like, you know what, dude? Like, dude, it's like the 15th time. We can't be
Yeah.
doing this.
That's exactly what I was. That's the scenario that I was going to say. And it's like, dude, when you have a player like that in the NFL that just has literally zero regard for what he's, obviously doing. I mean, dude, don't play dumb with me, like, because I've heard some arguments where it's all like, oh, it's football, it's violent. No, dude, no.
It's a
Like,
changed game, dude.
it's changed. Like, like I don't, if anything, I think the players are so annoyed about, hearing, oh, like, don't hit above the neck. Oh, like, do this and that. Bro, it's instilled into their minds. I don't want to hear that dumb excuse. He knows what he's doing,
Mm-hmm.
and like, and I don't want to quote Max Kellerman because I think it's a little like, I think he's going a little too far, but in a sense, I guess it is kind of an impulse control problem,
Yeah.
because like I said, like, it is kind of far to say something like that about someone you know nothing about. But when you're looking at just the plays, dude, there's plays where literally the camera has caught him trying to twist someone's ankle. Like, come on, dude. Like, why? Like, for what reason? What will you benefit from doing that? I don't get it. And I think this, like, incidents has, like, happened, like, even after he got suspended. So it's like, either you want to not play in the NFL or you just can't handle yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's a really dumb situation in my opinion.
It's always tough in the NFL because there are a lot of examples out there to where people make mistakes in college and
Yeah.
they are given chance after chance because of how athletic they are, how talented they are.
Yeah.
But once you see it happen again in the NFL and they're ultimately giving chance after chance after chance because of their athletic ability, just like the first one that comes to mind is Greg Hardy. Like,
Greg Hardy, my lord.
I mean, that man was accused and like I think he was ultimately like guilty of a lot of things.
Mhm.
And when the Cowboys signed him, I remember like being asked that while I was working at the radio station, and they were just like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "I think player wise, this is a great move. They need an edge
Yeah.
rusher. They need a defensive presence." Like, humanity wise, morally, this is the worst thing they could have done, because
Yeah.
like he was guilty. He knew what he did, and they said we're okay with him abusing women, with abusing another person.
Yeah.
We just like him as a player. That's why.
I think the same situation goes with the Browns and Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand the I guess you could call it an ethical decision on that part. I don't understand the ethical decision, dude. Like, at least with Ray Rice, like, yeah, he got off because the girl was probably manipulated and like she dropped the charges or whatever. But dude, Kareem Hunt, man, like the video's there. Like, you see the video and you're like, you know what? Let's sign this guy. Why? For what?
Yeah.
You want to make a statement that you're fine? You're okay with it? I mean, I don't know. It's
You just gotta. I think about it like this. Like if you were that person, if you were Ray Rice, if you were Kareem Hunt, and that happened in our situation where we're just living a normal life. We work at fucking a Best Buy. We work whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We work in an office. If that video gets out and is picked up by the local media, and everybody around you knows about it, your bosses know about it, everyone in your town knows about it, you get fired immediately. You're never gonna get a job again.
Yeah.
Because that name and that video is always gonna be acquainted with each other. But just because of the fact that they're athletes, just because they can run a 40 faster than you, but just because they can catch a ball better than most people that are free agents, they're gonna get signed.
Yeah.
And don't even get me started with the fact that like Roger Goodell will just hand out suspensions for like 2 games.
Oh, dude.
On stupid shit.
It's ridiculous. Like, because and you know, like, I don't know if you talked about this because like I think you started doing this podcast like a couple years after, but like the whole Zeke situation. Like, look, it might be biased because we're both Cowboys fans. However, dude, how do you suspend someone to make a statement, as it was said, where we're not going to tolerate domestic violence, when in the case of Zeke, he actually had literally the messages of the girl saying, I'm going to accuse him of beating me up.
Yeah.
Just go through with it. But when you actually have cases with video proof, they get away with it? Like,
or not even that. Like Kareem Hunt, for example, like he got suspended pretty much the whole season last year.
Yeah.
And then he's going to be able to come back week 1 of this season. So it's a difference between getting accused and not really having evidence for it, 6 games. And then you have Kareem Hunt who has evidence of like abusing a woman and getting suspended 12 to 16 games?
Yeah, because it happened like the first couple weeks of the season. So
yeah,
it was like 12-13. Yeah.
So like you're and let alone like Tom Brady with the Deflategate, like 4 games compared to accused 6 games for Zeke. Like, how do you justify 2 games difference?
It's, I don't know, dude. Roger Goodell has been such a roller coaster ride with the NFL, and to be honest with you, sometimes I think about it and I'm like, is it even him? Like, is he the ones that's making these decisions?
I don't think so.
Or is it like the board that's all like, hey, you know what? You kind of have to shut all these people up, do this. And he just does it, you know? Because it just doesn't make sense to me how a person like Zeke gets 6 games when he has evidence that, you know, I didn't do anything. You suspend Tom Brady for being accused of deflating balls when, I mean, I guess there was some evidence, but it wasn't like 100% substantial.
But then you also didn't really punish the organization as a whole.
Exactly.
You only punished the poster boy of the Patriots.
In that situation, you punish the scapegoat. In the Zeke situation, you punish, you know, the what's the word? The falsely accused, but not with the ones that you actually have video evidence against. I don't know. I think Roger Goodell's career as the commissioner is tainted. It has been tainted. And I'm really sorry to whoever comes up next because he has to fix a lot. Or he or she. We don't know. We don't know whoever besides becomes the next commissioner. But he or she has to fix a lot.
It'll be he because the NFL doesn't want a woman at the top is that they're just not going to do that. You already know what's going to happen, bro. Yeah, like if there's a woman up there, they're going to be like, "This is a man's sport. This is all like women don't play football." That type of shit.
Yeah.
But then also with that like the Rooney Rule, where
oh God,
they'll get rewarded for hiring someone of minority.
I think it's so funny how that rule just got amended to what it is right now while everything in the world is going on. Like, how do you not read that rule and be like, oh yeah, this is kind of not offensive? Like, what? Like,
they're trying so hard to be like diverse, but it just looks bad.
Yeah, it looks so bad. Like, you should, someone who is qualified, someone who has the skill, the mindset. Who cares what they are, bro? Who cares what they are? Who cares who they are? If they're qualified, hire them. Mm-hmm. Why the hell do you need to get a 3rd round pick to hire them?
For doing something you should already be doing.
It's mind blowing, dude. It's mind blowing. I don't get what's going on over there. Oh yeah. It's something, man. It's something. The NFL is a wild place right now.
I don't know, man. It's just the world's dumb.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. This quarantine life sucks.
Yeah, dude. I know. It's not fun. I wish there was something like to watch, bro. Because like I was telling you, like right now, like baseball will be going on, and that's what I'd be watching, you know. And like it sucks because like, I mean, I don't know, dude. Like sports is just like something that everybody can, you know, like get together with.
Yeah, I just think about it. It just like takes me away from everything. Like, there's so many cases to where sports like helps in the world to get over some things or just to get your mind off of it, and that's 100%. Exactly what it is. So like, you know, right now is probably a very important time for athletes and kind of influencers to use their platform to do the right things, to kind of teach everybody about what's going around the world with like racism and all that. But at the same time, like I'm just one of those people where I'm like, look, this is where I want to get away from that. Like I use sports as a gateway to not focus on problems around the world. It doesn't matter at the end of the day, like what color you are, like where you come from, what your beliefs are. It's like you are an athlete. Like you are supposed to just, I don't want to say do your job, but like you should focus on that, because that's how a lot of people love you. That's why a lot of people watch you. So for like this to happen, and for sports to only happen because of the pandemic going on, like this is only to do the economy a better, you know, situation to where like it helps like the world with money rather than doing sports because we love sports. Like it's kind of tainted for me. Like I'll watch the NBA when it comes back, but at the same time I'll be like, this is only because like our government's doing it to make money. They're not doing this for the right reasons.
Yeah, it sucks. I think not trying to get super political because that's not what we do here. But it's right now like financially and statistically, like the United States is about to hit a huge recession, like another one from like 2008, and sports are like, I think I've always said that sports is like the one thing that has always set us apart from like other like countries. Because for example, like if you go to like, you know, like Europe where there's soccer, there's cricket, there's I'm trying to think of like other like massive sports over there. Well, you get my point. There's a good like 3-4 sports there, bro. Here we got, you know, we got baseball, we got football, we got hockey, we got basketball, you know, we got soccer here, even though the soccer team sucks. Don't get me started on that, my lord. You know, we have a multitude of sports here that boost the economy, and I get where you're coming from. That it sucks that like it's not being brought back because it's something.
It's finally better. Like we finally can get back to normal. It's like no, we're forcing it at this point.
Yeah, and honestly, like, have you seen those? Have you seen like those soccer games where the stadium's empty?
Yes, dude.
It's so weird, bro. It's weird.
I like the ones that are like trying to like put like cutout boards of fans,
Yeah, yeah.
or like that one team that use like blow up dolls, dude.
Oh, dude.
I'm all for that team. I applaud them.
It was a South Korean team, right?
Who
I think
cares?
so. I think so. Yeah, that's funny, dude.
I heard a report earlier today to where the Premier League's gonna do like FIFA 20 simulation like fans, crowd noise,
Oh, really?
and I'm like, that kind of sucks because in FIFA 20 or like just in FIFA, it's always off.
Mm,
Like I'll
no.
shoot a shot and they'll just like be silent, and I'm like, wait, I'm at home.
That's bad AI.
What is this?
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't know, man. We'll see what this goes. But all right. There's one thing I want to ask you though, because I don't know how far along we are.
I
But
think we should wrap it up soon. I was about to check the time, but I guarantee we're over an hour.
all right. So then we'll end it up on this. What I want to hear all, well, not all of them, but like I want to hear like your bold predictions for the season on the NFL.
On the NFL,
Yeah.
I think Kyler Murray is going to be the sleeper MVP.
Oh shit. Okay. All right.
What's another one? What's another one? Uh, I this one's tough. I really think that if Tua starts week 1, he won't make it to the end of the season.
Really?
I think
Okay.
he'll get injured.
Okay.
I genuinely think
that.
that his health is way worse than people think. I
Wow.
don't think that getting a hip surgery in less than a year and playing one of the most physical positions where you're getting hit almost every play
Mhm.
is gonna help you.
Yeah. Like that's true. I can see that.
Oh man, dude, if I'm just gonna put this out here, if Jamal Adams finds his way to the Dallas Cowboys, they're winning the Super Bowl.
Oh.
They're winning the Super Bowl. They have to. There is no excuse anymore. There is absolutely no excuse you can make for the Dallas Cowboys on not winning the Super Bowl if they get a free safety like Jamal Adams. They are good at every position on defense, and they are good at pretty much every position on offense. And they have an amazing coach.
Yeah. I
can kiss that man on the lips right now because of the moves he's making.
I think we were talking about this a couple days ago where like it's like I think this year and like even the next couple years, like for the Cowboys, like I'm sorry, dude, but it's Super Bowl or bust. Like I feel like we're going back to like 2016 when it was like, dude, we literally had everything. Everything. There's no excuse now.
We've talked about this. I wouldn't say we had everything.
In 2016?
Like the Dez caught it year?
No, that was 2014.
2016. Oh, like Dak's rookie year?
Yeah.
Oh,
dude.
No, I think
We had the majority, man. Come on.
I think they played really well against the Packers in that playoff game, but I thought by them making it that far was good enough.
So let me ask you this question then. Do you think if we would have won that game, we would have put up a better fight against the Falcons than what the Packers did that championship game?
Was it the Falcons and Packers?
Yeah, it was the Falcons and Packers. That was the year. That was a 28-3 blowout. I mean, a comeback.
I think they would have lost that game. I think
Okay.
they would have lost that game.
But it would have been a better fight.
I think it would have been a shootout.
That's my point.
Yeah.
The Packers, that game, they couldn't do anything on offense, bro. Anything. Why? Because that year they didn't have any running game.
Yeah.
The
they didn't know
only
what they were doing.
The only
Like
receiver
they still had Ty Montgomery as their running back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only receiver they had was Devontae. I think that was his rookie year, if I remember correctly, 2016. Devontae Adams, or was that like
he's
his
been in the year? I think he's
Like a
been in the
year?
league for a few years at that point.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I'm
Who
probably
do they
mistaken
have?
because it was Devontae Adams. I think
Devontae
that was
Adams, Jared Cook.
Jared Cook. I don't know if that was.
They still had Randall Cobb unless he was hurt.
I don't remember, but I think they had Jordy Nelson. Was that like his last year, if I remember correctly? Because he went to the
Yes.
Raiders for like a
Yeah.
year or something like that.
Because I remember he scored a touchdown in that Cowboys
Yeah.
game.
So like that, I don't know, dude. Like I every single time I look at that game again, I'm like, bro, we had the leading rusher in the league. We had Zeke. We had by far the best offensive line in the NFL.
For sure.
Our defense was good that year. like we still gave up a lot of points, but it was meh. It was okay. But our offense was still good enough, dude. And I personally think we would have had a better chance. Probably not win, because that was the year Matt Ryan was like going off every single game. But we would have had a better fight than what, 45-20 was the final score or something like that. And like 2 of those touchdowns were garbage time.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
think honestly, if they would have won that game and played the Patriots in the Super Bowl, they would have gotten destroyed.
Oh, I agree.
It would have been
I agree.
bad.
Yeah, I agree.
Real bad. I mean, it would have been 28-3. That's the final score.
Yeah, I
If
agree.
the Cowboys would have played against the Patriots.
Yeah. Okay.
Your
right.
bold
What-
predictions.
My bold predictions. All
I'm
right.
trying to think
I-
of some, but okay. Miami will make the playoffs.
Damn, you stole mine. That was the
I
only one of
really
mine.
think Miami
Yeah.
could. Maybe a year or two to really grow, but honestly, that AFC East is looking pretty good for the Dolphins.
Yeah, I shout out to Eddie, but sorry, buddy, your Patriots are not doing anything this year.
I think they'll go just over 500.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to the playoffs. So I agree. I think the Dolphins made a lot of good moves. I can't talk about their draft class because I don't remember a lot of their draft class.
Off season wise, they've just been
Yeah,
fucking laying it out.
yeah, I
They
don't remember
got-
the draft
Yeah,
class.
Byron Jones. They
Kyle
got
Van
some
Noy.
really good players from what I
Yeah.
remember in the draft. They got offensive linemen. Yeah, I think that's it. I think they really focused on offensive linemen, and that's a big plus for the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins can make the playoffs. That's one of them. I think my boldest prediction for this year is that the Broncos are a sleeper team.
Yeah,
I really think that the Broncos could come out like and just, I wouldn't say destroy people, but they can come out and win a lot of games.
they can win games by like 3 possessions or more. They can
Yeah.
score 30-plus points
Yeah,
because their offense is ridiculous right now.
yeah, it's insane, and it makes me so upset how Cortland Sutton is so underrated.
Yeah.
He's so good,
Such a
and nobody
complete
talks about
wide
him.
receiver. A
Yeah.
complete wide receiver.
And I don't know. I think, but however, that take, in my part, goes a long way with how Drew Lock plays.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
It's kind of up in the air with Drew Lock because he only played like what? He started 5 games last year. He looked really
started-
good,
he did.
but it's 5 games.
Yeah. So I really think the Broncos are a huge sleeper team. They will make the playoffs, depending on how Drew Lock plays.
It's
Now,
so
what?
tough, man, because you play in the AFC West.
Okay,
you,
bro.
You
but
have to
like,
get a wild card. That's
No,
the only
100%.
way.
100%. They're getting a wild card because, dude, no one's beating the Chiefs in that division. Let's be
No.
real. But when it comes to like the Raiders, who? The Raiders, who? Sorry.
Dude,
Uh,
the bum Cowboys. That's what I'm gonna call
the Chargers, who? Like
them. They don't have a quarterback.
they don't have a quarterback. So for sure, Broncos are going to be in the wild card, 100%, in my opinion,
Okay.
depending on Drew Lock. Like I said, I agree with you on the Dolphins one as well. The other one that I think personally is, I think the Cardinals are going to have a comeback year.
I'm ready, bro. I've never been excited for like another team other than the Cowboys than I am for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I want to see what they do. I just want to watch their offense.
They almost have it all, dude. Because like, it's weird, like watching them play this season, like you saw moments, dude. You saw moments where they were like, damn, they could be such a good team if only they had that little extra, like something, you know? Like,
yeah.
I think the game for me that proved it, where they can be a team in the future, was that game, that Thursday night game against the
Seattle?
49ers.
Oh, against the 49ers.
So,
yeah.
where they almost beat them. Like they had the game in their hands, but Jimmy G like drove down and like won the game for the
Yeah, it's
49ers.
49ers. I mean, you'll take
Yeah.
it, dude. For
Yeah,
a team
exactly.
that won
They won 5 games this season, I believe.
5?
They went like 5-9-1. If I remember. No.
Because they,
No.
I remember they tied against the Lions.
5-10-1. Is that what they went?
Yeah.
5-10-1. Yeah.
I honestly
something like
think
that.
that's for a team like that had nothing other than Kyler Murray.
So, okay, this is where I disagree with you because I do like Kyler Murray. I think he's great. I wouldn't say MVP. I think I'm gonna leave you alone on that one. But he's very great. I think he's a great quarterback. But you got Kyler Murray, you got Christian Kirk, and in my opinion, Christian Kirk has not been used to his full potential.
He's the same thing as Calvin Ridley. Is that he's not going to be number one, but damn, is he a good 2 or 3?
Exactly. He's so good, and I think he hasn't been used as well as he should. So you got Christian Kirk, and then, bro, you finally got rid of David Johnson. I'm sorry. I love the man. I thought he was a phenomenal running back, but past 3 years, no, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, he had an injury. It wasn't his fault, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then,
replace him with Kenyon Drake, though.
Now you got Kenyon Drake. Exactly. Kenyon Drake was balling out the last games of the season with the Cardinals. And then, not to mention, you now, and I'm going to say it. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. You now have the best wide receiver in the league. The best wide receiver in the league.
I'm going to agree with that.
Now, you have DeAndre Hopkins on the left. You have Christian Kirk on the right. You got Kenyon Drake behind you. That line's a little meh, but I think they drafted a couple linemen, if I remember correctly.
Josh Jones, I looked at
That's right.
Josh Jones from Houston, who I think is a really good offensive tackle. Don't you forget. How are you forgetting the one player on offense?
Who?
Larry Fitzgerald, bro.
Oh, that's right.
The
ageless wonder, the best slot receiver of all time.
I'm telling you, when I was doing the draft class on the Cardinals, I had so much fun. It was amazing. They got Isaiah Simmons the first round.
Oh,
they need defense.
So good.
That man could be just their whole defense. Like he could be that.
He's gonna be so good.
Josh Jones in the 3rd round. They got Leki Votu from Utah, who I love, dude. I mean, he's like Samoan, I think. Mm-hmm. You can never go wrong with a defensive tackle, a Samoan defensive tackle.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, this is their year. They're gonna do something this year. Now, whether it might be just getting to the wild card or divisional if they get lucky, but I think this year is a year where they can do something finally, because the past couple of years has just been, Jesus Christ, it's been so bad.
Everything in the draft. They got Eno Benjamin from Arizona State. That man was doing the salsa on the field.
The salsa, yeah.
They got Evan Weaver, who I think is like, I'm telling you, man, when I was watching film, I was like, remember the name, Evan Weaver. That man is going to be impressive to watch on defense.
Yeah. But I really do think the Cardinals got it this year.
They're going to make that NFC division so competitive.
Yeah. For sure.
They can take a game from Seattle. They can take a game from San Francisco like that, easy, in prime time. And I wouldn't be shocked.
So I guess my last bold take is like a 2-for-1, where I really do think one team from the AFC, one team from the NFC that was really good last season that's just going to flop big time, in my opinion. Texans and Vikings. I think both of those teams are going to flop big time. The Texans have had it coming for a while just because their coach is not a coach. I don't consider Bill O'Brien a coach. I think he's an awful coach. I don't know what the hell he's still doing in Houston.
Yep.
I don't understand how you trade the best wide receiver in the NFL for what, a 3rd round, was it? 3rd round, 5th round?
For a nothing running back and nothing picks.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't understand what the mindset was. Bill O'Brien's not a coach, in my opinion. Now, Deshaun Watson throws to Kenny Stills left. Wait, no.
I actually have a pretty good core.
No, who was it? Because they got Randall Cobb. I know that. They got Randall Cobb. Kenny Stills is still there, I believe.
You got Kiki QT?
Oh, that's right.
Kiki QT.
Kiki QT.
I love that man.
I don't know. I really don't think the Texans are going to be anything this year. I think they're going to be a mediocre team.
They got Brandon Cooks. Don't forget that.
Oh, that's right. They did get
Brandon Cooks, Randall Cobb, Will Fuller, who I think is probably the best one out of all of them. Kenny Stills, Kiki QT. Bro, he's got something to throw to.
Listen, man, all I'm hearing is the Browns all over again on paper. On paper.
Oh,
So,
look, the Texans are going to make the playoffs and get kicked in the first round,
like always,
like
apparently.
always.
Like always, yeah.
It's the Bill O'Brien journey.
Yeah, I don't know. I really do think that the Texans aren't really going to do much. And even if they do, like you said, they're going to get kicked out first round. And then when it comes to the Vikings, I really don't see the Vikings doing anything this year either. Stephon Diggs left. Adam Thielen, like, disappeared.
He got hurt and he never bounced back.
He disappeared.
It's
like,
going to be hard for him because he's now the number 1 guy.
Yeah.
But he was so good as the number 2 to Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
That's
So
what made Adam Thielen such a reliable catcher. Is that
Yeah.
he can just get open because he's not double teamed. Now he's going to get double teamed.
yeah. So that happened. Dalvin Cook is phenomenal.
Best
But-
running back in the NFL, in my opinion.
It's a good argument, but I wouldn't say he's the best. But it's a good argument. Dalvin Cook's phenomenal. Their line is still okay, but I think they lost their what was it? Their right guard, their left guard. I forgot who it was, but it was like one of their best linemen or something like that. And then not even to mention they lost a lot of defensive players.
Yeah, they did.
And
They
Everson
did.
Griffin is still on the block, and they've already said they're not going to sign him back.
Yeah.
So,
They got rid of a lot of people in their secondary.
yeah,
They got rid of
Andrew Sendejo. He's with the
Sendejo.
Eagles
They got rid of
now.
Xavier Rhodes.
Harrison Smith.
Did they get rid of Harrison Smith?
I think they did. Yeah, I
Where did he
remember.
go?
I think he's already playing with someone else last season, if I remember correctly.
No, he was there last year.
I don't
No,
remember.
he's still with the Vikings.
He's still there?
Yeah, I think so.
Then I was probably just thinking about Sendejo.
Yeah, it says he's with the Minnesota Vikings, but I think he's a free agent.
I think Anthony Barr left as well, right?
Ooh, no, I think they re-signed him
No, did they?
because I like Anthony Barr.
I don't like Anthony Barr.
How you
he
not like
destroyed-
Anthony Barr, bro? Ever since he came out of UCLA, I'm like,
He destroyed Aaron Rodgers. My poor boy. I don't remember, but I do know that they lost a lot of players from their secondary,
they
and
still
that's gonna hurt
They
them
still
big
lost
time.
a lot.
Yeah. So
Their
yeah, I really,
window to win a Super Bowl really did
it's
not
over.
work out.
it's over.
They had
That's it.
such a prime window. Like the year before where they had Case Keenum, but the year they got Kirk Cousins, I was like, dude, this team is set. There's no excuses.
That's my last point too. Dude, Kirk Cousins last year. I mean, it kind of sucks that his last year not really gonna do much. So
He'll put up some numbers, but it's not going to be anything of importance.
because the team just isn't gonna be to that potential that like they could be.
Their ultimate success is going to be based on the running game. It's all based on Dalvin
yeah.
Cook.
For sure.
So that's all that matters.
Yeah. So yeah, Texans and Vikings not gonna happen. So this is one of my dreams. I guess the last take I got, but it's more like a dream, where the Saints finally reach the championship.
Yo, I honestly
like-
think that I have it every year, dude. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I just have a feeling the Saints will win one more Drew Brees.
Yes.
One more.
Yes.
Because like 2 years ago, I was like, they are the definite favorites. They should win. They got joked last year. I was like, look, they're not as good.
But they're still good.
They're still good, but Kamara's not playing as good. Michael Thomas is one of the best wide receivers. Their defense to me was amazing. Like I love their defense.
I have mixed opinions about Michael Thomas, to be honest with you. I don't know how I feel about him because while I do agree he's very, very good, let's be real, bro. My man only catches slants. I'm sorry.
It
Like-
doesn't matter, bro. That's DK Metcalf, but DK Metcalf could be one of the most dominating wide receivers in the league.
That's why I'm 50-50 about it because, he catches – dude, the guy catches everything. Like, literally everything that's thrown to him, he catches. And that's, like – that's one of the best qualities you can have a receiver. But, every now and then, come on. You need to have a little, 20-plus plays.
Well, I
Like,
mean,
not
why
just
not?
those, 10.
Why fix what's not broken, bro? It helps a lot they got Drew Brees.
You got me there. I mean, it's obviously been working the past couple of years.
It works.
You got me there.
I mean, if Teddy Bridgewater can make it work, then anybody can.
Listen, I want to see some flashy plays. I'm that kind of NFL viewer where I want to see 60-yard bombs every play or something like that. But no, I get your point. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, I'm not taking anything away from him because Michael Thomas is amazing receiver. I just feel like they always use him for like those small routes, and I'm like, why? He has the size, he has the physicality. Why? Like my man literally catches like more slants than anybody else when he should be catching like post routes. I don't know.
It's just hard. It's hard when you're
weird.
getting double teamed because you're Michael Thomas, and you're trying to rush the quarterback because they're going to pass with Drew Brees, so you got to get to him. But they're just gonna be smart about it. Sean Payton knows this. He's been doing this for like over 30 years. Like, the dude, like you got to get the ball out
Dude is
quick.
old. Yeah,
Dude's old,
he's old.
but he still
Yeah.
does it, man.
That's I guess that's my last take. That I really want the Saints to finally get their revenge on the NFL and win one at least.
Because I don't think the 49ers make it back. I don't see the 49ers make it back to the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship. So,
Well, maybe the championship, but for Super Bowl, no, for sure not the Super Bowl. I agree.
I have the Saints. I want to say the Cowboys, but it's
There's a lot to see. That's all I'll say.
A lot to dive into with that one.
I think that's its own separate podcast, to be honest.
That is, dude. Because
Talking
I haven't talked
straight
about
Cowboys.
that schedule, and the schedule's looking pretty nice.
It's looking nice. I think I'd be down to talk about that.
Yeah, I think we'll save it for another one. All right, guys. So that's gonna do it for this episode of the Bubble Up Sports Podcast. Thank you for Kevin for joining us, first of many.
Thank you for having me.
Dude.
Finally, wish it was under better circumstances, but
For sure, but hey, it'll do for now.
yes, sir, exactly.
So this has been episode 137 of the Bubble Up Sports Podcast. And one last thing, stay safe out there, whether it's being in quarantine or if you're protesting as well. Make sure to stay safe. Take care of everyone around you. And so hopefully the world doesn't burn down by the time our next episode comes out.
That's true.
But pretty sure we'll see Kevin in the future. As far as that, this has been Kevin, and this has been your boy Bubbleettes. Thank you for joining us on the Bubbleettes Sports Podcast.
Got carried by the team. Now would you lose if it been a better draft pick? And do you cuss when your team get their ass kicked? Now do you keep it classy or you keep it ratchet? For the man with the magic. Now who is